you this meme?
I did.
Great acting. Hello everyone, this is Joshua and
Ushba.
we're going to be speaking about pop culture marketing and if you're making the most of it.
Yes. So to begin with, what is pop culture or popular culture? So popular culture is just those elements of the society, cultural elements that are communicated through your mass media mostly. And this has been going on for a really long time. But the difference between then and now is that we have a really good thing with us that is the internet or the mass media. So the way that popular culture has been communicated throughout the years, that has blown people away, and now brands are making the most of it. And we're here to tell you how you can also make the most of it. So number one, what is a part of popular culture? There's so many things that can be part of it. You have your entertainment industry, you have fashion, you have sports, anything or everything that can relate to a bigger audience and that can become viral, it can be shared through mass media, that becomes part of the popular culture. And in fact, I think there have been so many times that you must have seen so many relatable memes going on over this social media on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Some of the notable things just happened a few days ago, actually, the ones that you were talking about.
There's a fashion show where a guy wore a man-made lion's head on the fashion show itself, and when the model, what's her name, Irina, she was also wearing the same thing, and of course it became a huge controversy that Kylie Jenner wore the same dress that the model was wearing to the ramp itself. But of course that was pre-planned and everything, and the animals themselves, they've made huge controversies with animal rights activists and general public as well. So that's a prime example of what the internet is talking about nowadays. That's a great example of the popular culture that we're experiencing in this particular week.
Or even at the viral moment where there was a slap between Chris Brown and
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, yeah. So that viral moment that grew everywhere, and there was relatable media that was being used. Even on LinkedIn, there were so many things I was seeing brands sharing a meme on their page. So this just goes to show that if you know your audience, you can relate to popular culture and communicate with really good captions and really hit the spot. So that brings us to the question, can popular culture relate to any kind of audience? You need to know what your audience is. It needs to relate to your audience. It shouldn't look like it's something that you're forcing down your audiences.
Also, another point that we must clarify on is that why should companies incorporate popular culture marketing into their campaigns or whatever? Because, of course, if they don't know why they should be doing it, they won't really have the incentive of making all of this extra effort, which isn't really a lot of extra effort because it is easy work and enjoyable work. So, why brands should incorporate this kind of marketing into their strategy is because it's entertaining, and not everybody wants strictly marketing content shoved down their throats.
Yeah.
People want, when they log on to social media, they want to connect, they want to have a laugh, and looking at marketing or salesy content is the last thing that I will speak for myself. That's the last thing I would want to see.
Yeah.
And of course, if I see a brand participating in a pop culture conversation that's going around, I would want to know more about that brand and go through their feed of what's happening and how they've spoken about certain subjects as well.
So what you're really trying to tell our audience right now is that pop culture has to be relatable to your audience, and that is what makes them connect with you. So just think about it, something that is going on in the popular media everywhere, and you just hit the right spot and make a meme and share it on your media, and that would be really easier for your audience to get a humanized version of your brand, right? Really connect to you. So what other things do you think people need to do?
So, an easy good hack when you're wanting to incorporate popular culture into your marketing campaign is that log on to Twitter first of all. That's my go-to fix for whenever I'm looking to see what's trending nowadays because and
Fastest. And it's the fastest way to get information on board. Anything you find on Twitter anything you find on social media, that has to come on Twitter first, and that is when it moves on to Facebook or Instagram. So yeah, you would have
Off topic, but there is a running joke also that Twitter users, they get the information or the fun content way before than Facebook and Instagram.
And I can testify to that. I get to see so many things, viral moments on Twitter first, and only after some hours it comes on Facebook. So I think that makes us superior than the rest of the platforms.
Exactly. So when you're wanting to incorporate this kind of strategy, when you're wanting to incorporate this kind of media into your strategy, you need to look at red and green flags. So red flags would include anything that would not go with your brand message, that would not go with the culture of the brand that you represent. For example, taking the example of Chris Rock and the Will Smith incident, it was funny and people did a lot of renditions and fun renditions on it. But at the end of the day, you have to see if your brand stands for that kind of thing as well. Because if you look at the strict action of it, it was a violent act.
And another thing that you can avoid is, for example, there's a lot of songs that go on Instagram and TikTok. So tunes that you can insert in your reels or your videos, right? So you really need to know the kind of music that resonates with your brand's identity and use only that kind of music. It's really, really, I think, forced when you use the most popular sort of music and just insert it any kind of video that you're creating. It has to make sense to your brand. You need to make sure that it should resonate with your brand's voice, and only then will it be able to relate with your audience the most.
Picking up on that, I make the TikTok reels for my company. So whenever I upload the files onto the application, of course, TikTok helps me in editing my videos and adding the most popular sound that is currently going on. But I've noticed that most of the times that sound is not appropriate for my company culture. So I will, of course, not avail that option, even if it's easy work. So you need to make that kind of effort to understand what would go well with your brand and your company. Another red flag that you need to look out for is that anything that you put out should not be controversial. So remember when that Pepsi campaign happened with Kendall Jenner, even if Pepsi...
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah. Even if Pepsi, the entire campaign was well intended, the timing of it was a bit off. And of course, if you're putting a model and the sentiment is not just coming across effectively to the marginalized communities, it just nullifies the entire effort. So you need to take care of cultural sentimentality when you're planning this kind of content as well. It is easy, but it's only a few rule of thumbs that you need to follow to hit the nail on the head. And when you're talking about green flags, one of the most important aspects is that these trends are very short-lived. So while we're talking about Kylie Jenner's lying head on her chest in this week, it might not be very funny in the next week. I mean, sure, something will come up, or something in sports might come up. There might be an award function that will give us our next viral moment. So when you're planning your campaigns, you need to be cognizant of the facts that it should be very fast-paced. What's going out in this week, it might not be relevant in the next week. So you need to change up and switch up your strategy accordingly. You need to be prepared for what's coming next and alter your strategy accordingly.
So another green flag or something you could do is when you, for example, start looking out, let's say you go to Twitter, you can start with social listening. That is, see the trending topics that are coming on top, and then make your communication along those lines, especially if it fits your brand. So these are some of the things that can help you get on top and make the most of the popular culture that we had been talking so far about. And this brings me to the question that I have for you, Joshua, is that, is popular culture also relevant to B2B?
I think it is, because B2C, of course, everybody wants, when you're interacting with a direct customer, and if it's a mass customer, everybody wants to jump on the entertainment bandwagon. Yeah. So this doesn't necessarily mean that when you're interacting with a B2B company, you can look into pop culture marketing as well. So when you're talking about B2B companies, of course, something that happened at the Golden Globes or the Paris Fashion Week, that might not be very on brand for your company. So something which you could use is that last year everybody was looking forward to this Spotify Wrapped. Yeah. So that is the kind of thing that tiptoes the line between pop culture and something that could be, that's not very serious either. So it just strikes the right balance. So you need to keep your eye out for things like that. And for example, if you're talking about a software as a service company, you could talk about the software that the latest TV shows are using to insert the CGI or the After Effects. You could plug in your own product into something like that. And that are just some examples from the top.
And what I wanted to add on this was that even if it's a B2B brand, there's still people and humans sitting out on the other side, right? And they want to be seen and heard, get related to a brand as well. So it's definitely okay to use popular culture. Just keep the right balance, so it's respectful. So it's just like Joshua said, it's on brand and it makes sense to the whole idea of that brand. So as far as we follow these steps, you can definitely make the most of this and keep on top of trending topics and make sure you go viral with them.
And on that note, we'll see you in the next one. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments and we'll be happy to answer them.